Hi everyone, and welcome to Thursday. And today we're going to take a look at Spark as our share and review. Now, this is a share that I've had several requests for since I've been doing these videos. So I thought, let's revisit it and see how it's going. Now, before I jump across and share my screen, the housekeeping, remember that this is for educational purposes only. No way is it intended to be personalised financial advice. For that, you do need to go and have a chat to your own financial advisor. But do remember, if there is a share or a commodity or anything like that that you would like me to have a look at, it doesn't necessarily have to be in New Zealand. It can be anywhere. I'm happy to pull that up and go through and run my methodology over it for investing. And likewise, if you've got any questions at all regarding share trading, please let me know. And again, I'm happy to address them here. I've had some great questions come in lately, and hopefully it's helping you on your share trading journey. Right, let's take a look. Okay, we've got Spark up here on the screen, and I've got it over a 5-year period, which gives me obviously 1 week infos, which is what I use when I'm analysing any shares for potential opportunities. As you can see here, all I can say is Spark has fallen off a cliff. Over the last 5 years, it hit a high of around $5.40, and that was still around September 2022. From there, we did have a period of basically sideways movement, and that was really for a good year and a half until January last year. And then since then, it's basically just fallen off a cliff. You can see here that there is very, very few green candles. We had that sudden drop, and it was very severe, and basically we sort of hit a bottom of just about $4.04 around June last year. We had the proverbial dead cat bounce where it tried to make some sort of rally but didn't. Then we've had huge sell-off again, and then basically from October 2024, so last year, again a little bit of a sideways movement, and look at that candle there in February this year. It's a huge candle. It's just fallen exponentially. Now, as you can see, Spark is trading at $2.08 after having a high of around $5.44. Now, this is a very good example as to why I use trailing stops, because if your share has gone from $5.44 down to just over $2, wow, that is around 60-70% of your capital gone. And a share can fall to zero. Let me tell you, I have experienced that myself in my early career when I was learning share trading. That is not something that I believe you want to do, because if you lose your capital, it means you can't play anymore. You have to go and recreate it elsewhere. Now, let's just put the moving averages on and let's take a look. So again, I like to use the 30 period. I use the exponential, and let's click done. And just looking at that one, you can see that basically in this latest series, Spark really closed below that 30-week moving average around the end of February last year, and it's just continued to decline. Now, these moving averages I've spoken about a lot lately, because obviously the market is in a lot of uncertainty at the moment. There is a lot of volatility, and this is the markets in general. And what I've said is that bad things can happen when you start trading a share that is below its moving averages. And you can see it's a falling moving average as well. So it's definitely not a share I would want to own. Let's also put on the 15 period moving average. So I just go in and change that to 15, exponential, change the color so we can see what's happening. And yeah, you can see here that 15 period moving average went through the 30-week moving average at around March last year, and it just hasn't looked like changing, hasn't looked like swinging around. So for a share, obviously it can fall to zero. I have mentioned that. But to me, this is like trying to catch a falling knife. We don't know where this bottom is going to end up. Hey, I don't know what's happening with Spark. I don't look at the company itself. I purely look at these charts, okay, because that is what's telling me the story. I can see that Spark is still paying a dividend. So it's paid one recently back in March and then September last year. But I've spoken of that before as well. I do not invest solely for the dividends, because obviously in this example here with Spark having fallen from over $5 down to $2, your dividends are not going to make up that differential in the fall in share price. I would far rather use stop losses. Let's put it out over an all period and see what's happened. Okay, right. So this now goes out to monthly periods, but you can see way back in the early period, Spark was trading up around $8, which was phenomenal. We then, that's way back, sort of around the early 2000s, and it could have been when it changed from telecom actually, and took off the fibre cable networks and bits and pieces. Then obviously Spark did have a great run from around April 2012, and when you look on a monthly basis, it had a very, very strong run up until sort of December last 2023, and then, like I said, you can just see here that it's just in free fall. So I've got no idea where this bottom will end. Spark is definitely not a share that I would want to be owning at the moment. Some people want to hold on and hope that they can ride it out, and that's great if you do. Bear in mind, it can go to zero. At some point, some people say that it is going to turn around. Hey, it might well do. But for me, I would rather sit on the sidelines for Spark and wait until there is actually some signs of recovery and the share itself starts trading above these moving averages. And I also want to see that 15-week moving average has crossed above the 30-week moving average, because it's better to trade with a trend than against it, which is what's happening here. The trend is falling. If the market is rising, then highly likely new highs will generate further new highs. Obviously, a top will happen at some stage, but when a share is rising, hey, it can go from a few cents to several dollars, and that is certainly the way I would want to trade a share. So Spark, nope, not on my radar at all. So I hope that's helped. And like I said, let me know if there is a share that you'd like me to review for next week, or even if there is something that you would like to know in regarding share trading. Happy to help.